Hi everybody, happy weekend, happy Sunday. Today is the 22nd of January 2023. My name's Nicky and welcome to my Flosstube channel, Nicky Noodle Stitching. So today I'm going to do a WIP parade, yay! I've been through all of my WIPs, I've ironed them all so they look nice and fresh, and I hope you enjoy what you see. I'm going to go right back to the very beginning. I'm going to start with my oldest WIP and then work my way through chronologically to my most recent start, which was at the end of last year. Miraculously, I haven't started anything new this year, which is just, yeah, unheard of. So, but anyway, thanks to everybody who watched my last Flosstube. It was a few weeks ago now. I had some really lovely comments. Thank you all very much. I have read the comments. I need to go through though again and comment on your comments to show, to tell you how much I appreciate you watching me and leaving comments. It's really lots of fun. And to answer those questions that some people did have, particularly about the quilt that I showed. There was a lot of love for the quilt, so thank you very much. My quilty bug has returned a little bit over the last little while, so that's a little bit scary because I haven't lost my stitchy bug either, so I don't know how I'll fit it all in. Oh well, it's all for fun. Okay, let's get cracking. I think, now let me add this up. I believe I had 2 WIPs carried over from 2020. I had 10 carried over from 2021 and 19 from 2022. So what does that take us up to? 29, 30, 31 WIPs, but I may have found a couple extra. So yeah, don't quote me on that number. Doesn't matter anyway. I'll just show you everything I've got out here. And yeah, it was really good to go through my WIPs and iron them all and look at them and reappreciate how beautiful everything is. Yeah, okay. Number 1, Anne Morrison. She is my current oldest WIP. Oh, I'll show you my I'll show you the pattern as well. That might help because some of them haven't got a lot of stitches in. So this is Anne Morrison. She is a Hands Across the Sea sampler, and she was an exclusive, I think at the end of 2024 Traditional Stitches in Canada. So there were a ton of people doing a stitch along for this one. Most people have finished it. I haven't. And the reason I haven't is because I don't like stitching on the linen I chose, which was the called for linen actually, but I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it. But anyway, I've been working on this one this week actually. So she's very, very pretty. I'm stitching this on a 45 count Jersey cream linen from Legacy Linens, and very pretty, very pretty. I'm using the 103 silks and I don't love them. I just find them a little bit twisty for me and not quite enough coverage. So, but it was good. It's fun to try these ones. I have to stitch this one using a magnifier. It's the only one I need to use a magnifier. And I can't do it for long periods of time because the magnifier gives me a little funny headache. Oh, it's tough, isn't it? Now, where am I going to put all these so they don't get dirty? Good question. Over here. Right, next one. So this is my second WIP for 2020. Second and last one for 2020. So this one is A Christmas Garden, and it comes out of this book, this Blackbird book, Home for the Holidays. And it's this beauty here. So this gorgeous one. I'm stitching this one also on a 45 count Legacy linen. This one is called Foxtail Millet. And so if you watch some of the Flosstubers who've actually stitched this, if they stitch it on a 36 count linen or even 32, it's massive. Obviously, because I'm doing a 45, it's only weeny, it's only small. But there's a lot of stitches in it, obviously, because it's a 45 count. I have not decided yet. I'm still umming and ahhing about whether I include the words Christmas garden or whether I chop it off. I had originally decided to chop it off, and I started doing the reduced length border. I unpicked it, but now I don't know. I really don't know. But it's beautiful. I'm using all of the called for threads for this one. Haven't swapped anything out. Just a different linen to that suggested. But it's beautiful. The stitches are so teeny tiny. Teeny tiny. Okay. Next one. This was one I started in January 2021. And this one is called Ragamuffin 2, and it's by Shakespeare's Peddler. Is it going to be glary? Oh, I think we'll get away with it. So this one, I still absolutely love this one. And this has been the piece that I've pulled out most recently to work on. Don't mind my note here. It is just to remind me that I made a huge counting mistake. Not huge, 3 stitches off. And as a result, I have to just be mindful of what I stitch, where I stitch, otherwise it's not going to all fit properly. So, but it's okay, it's all working out so far. So this is where I'm up to. I've made a bit of headway in the last few days. So it's beautiful. I'm stitching this one on a 40 count platinum. I heard someone call Zweigart linen bog standard the other day. Bog standard Zweigart linen. I don't think it's bog standard. There's nothing bog standard about this. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love, like, what's it called? Platinum linen. And I'm using all of the called for silks. So it is a pleasure to stitch. But the error I made was in here. I stitched these letters 3 stitches too low. So it's just meant that I've had to tweak the motifs a little bit, which hasn't been difficult because there's a fair bit of room around all of the motifs. So that's that beautiful one, Ragamuffin 2 by Shakespeare's Peddler. I'm certainly eager to continue working on that one until it's finished. But again, I always change my mind and switch to something else. We'll see how it goes. Next one is called Sampler from Saxony. I have not worked on this one for quite some time. I'll take this one out of the packet. So this is a GGR chart and I just love it. It's massive. This is the full length. And these 4 bands are these center bands here. So that's just a close-up of this. So GGR Sampler from Saxony. I'm stitching this one on what I think is a 40 count light mocha or cafe au lait, I'm not sure. And as I said, I haven't done anything on this for a long time. But this is where I'm up to. This is going to take almost a full width of fabric because it's so big. But that's where it's up to. And again, while I had this one out ironing it, I thought, I've really got to get back to that. Same old story with whips. So that's that. Aren't those bands beautiful? It's beautiful colours. I'm stitching it using all of the called for overdyed cotton threads. So pretty. The next one is, I don't know why, I just don't pull it out and finish it, but I just haven't. This one is called Strawberry Fields Forever, and it's a blackbird piece. This one, I've always loved it. I still do love it. It's not very big. What's the stitch count? 95 wide by 138 high, so it's really not very big. But it's got doodads. I think that's really what puts me off sometimes. All those colour changes and meh. Anyway, so here's mine. I had this one out not that long ago and put probably 3 stitches in and put it away again. So it's not very big. There's my hand. So it's really not very big. I'm stitching this one on a 40 count winter brew from R&R. Using all of the called for threads. I haven't swapped anything out, so it's just as charted. So that's a pretty one. Next one is Kathy Barrick, a Kathy Barrick chart, and I think Kathy Barrick would have to be my favourite designer. I just really love her style and the colours and all of that sort of thing. So this is Riley Harbour by Kathy Barrick. Love, love, love it. I occasionally pull this one out and work on it. I'm stitching this one on a 40 count bush tee from Jay's X Stitch, which is an Australian Etsy seller. And that's where it's up to. So I think I put it away because I wasn't terribly happy with this house. I'm going to leave it, I think, if I fill in all the windows using the called for threads, the little house may show up a little better. So I think I might leave that. I have made a mistake in this one. I'm not going to tell you where because you probably don't even know. The whale, as for or probably the majority of Kathy's charts, she calls for either NPI silks or DMC. I'm stitching this one in all of the called for DMCs except for the whale. I like the whale being variegated, so I think I stitched it in a I think it's a Gentle Arts thread, or maybe it's Weeks galvanized. I tend to use galvanized quite a bit when there's grey variegation required, but I can't remember. And again, the white sails of this, I've had a lot of umming and ahhing about which white to use. I've stitched it, I've unpicked it, I've restitched it using a different white. And I think this one's okay. I think these show up okay. So don't you love the little octopus? He's cute. So that's Riley Harbour. Very fun. That's in a Betsy bag, sock monkey bag. Right, Ellen Norris is my next WIP. This was a stitch along with Ellen Chester from With My Needle and Ellen Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour and lots of other people. This is Ellen Norris. It's a GGR chart, as you can see. My friend Louise, who is Susie Lou on Instagram, she's finished this one and she took the completed piece to the Daisy Chain Stitches Retreat in September and it was absolutely glorious. She did an amazing, amazing job. So it certainly has inspired me to pull this one out again and continue stitching on it. It's got lots of 1/1, this one, and before I discovered that, I started it on a 40 count linen. So, but I do love the look of the oval one on 40 count once it's done. It's just doing it that's the problem. So where am I up to? This is where I'm up to. So I've started the house, done some of those motifs. The colours are so pretty. They're very pastel, unusual, I think. The linen is a 40 count iced chocolate from Jay's X Stitch. And it's a beautiful piece of linen. I've got lots more of it. Just haven't cut it down yet, and that's okay. I can do that when it's done. So it's very pretty. I'll show you some of the oval one. That little blue dog down here, he's oval one. This is the beginning of a little lady's dress in the pink. That's all oval one. It's got a lot of oval one in it. But I have seen some people do it, they've modified it to not include the over ones so much, over one anyway. They've modified it to mainly over two. So very pretty. I do love GGR charts very, very much. Okay, that's that one. Next one is a Whilst Iris Nap chart. I can't speak today. Words are hard. Yeah, have I got a picture of it? Yes, I do. And I absolutely love this one. Let me fix the poodle hair. It's not quite so bad since I had it cut, but it's still pretty wild. So this is Agnes Lyle from Whilst Iris Naps. It's a Scottish lassie. She stitched this one in 1832 and I just adore the colours in this one. I'll pull them out and show you. Just fantastic. So there's all of these beautiful turquoisey blues, this gorgeous pink, this beautiful red. What's this red? I love this red. Louisiana hot sauce. Sorry, I can't do a Louisiana accent. Oranges, just really vibrant, really gorgeous. So that's been a lot of fun, and I have been working on this one this year. So that's where she's up to. Again, she's not really massive. Can you see the scale next to my head? She's head size. Head and neck, probably. Head and neck. So, but all of those pretty colours. And as is my usual story, I've done a bit of the scaffolding, so just some of the lines, so I can go ahead and do the letters and numbers and that sort of thing. I'm stitching this one on a 40 count flax from Zweigart, and I love it. So I would like to continue chipping away at that one. I've chipped away at all of them. I've been reasonably good. I think I've put stitches in all of my WIPs over the last year. There's only a couple that I probably haven't. Next is one that I do work on quite regularly, and this is, what's it called? A peacock, a unicorn and a badger from the Scarlet Letter. So it's this one. That's the name of the chart. So when did I start this? I've got the date written down here. I started this one on the 18th of September 21. And this is a big one. You've all seen this one. There's lots of people on Instagram and Flosstube that are stitching on this one. This is a fantastic piece to do an outline, to take it for fill-in stitching at a retreat or at just get-togethers with family and friends. So that's where I'm up to. So it's coming along. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I can't tell you how much I love it. Look, but I've got to, look. Boobs. And you can use your imagination for all of the little shapes on this one. Or maybe Gwyneth thinks I'm the only rude person. She thought I might have adjusted the chart to make it look more like boobs, but I told her I'm stitching this as is called for, so yeah, it's gorgeous. And I'm not, the bottom of the chart, actually, the blue water is stitched in on the chart at satin stitch, but I've just done cross stitch. But I did see a post on Instagram from Knitter from Norway. I think that's her handle. And she's doing this one as well. Amazing. She's a fast stitcher. And she's doing the water in the satin stitch, and it does look great. It looks really great. But she's also using the silks for this one, whereas I'm just using good old DMC. So the sheen on the silk is just incredible in satin stitch. Yeah, So that's that one. I'm stitching this one on a 40 count unknown linen. I think it might be light mocha. So very happy with how that one's coming along. I can get a good old pace up using the sewing method on that one. Right, next one. This one's in a little bag that I made a couple of Christmases ago with all of the Aussie animals with Christmas hats on. So there's a wombat, an echidna, an emu, kangaroo, koala, possum. That's a ringtail possum. You can see his ring on his tail. Galah. What else? I think that's everything. Kookaburra. Did I say that? Anyway, that's a fun little bag. And then this one is the Lucky Nutcracker from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And I have not got a picture of this one. So maybe I'll stick a picture of it in here. And this is where I'm up to. So this is a 32 count white linen. I kicked myself that I did it on a 32 because I just do not particularly like stitching with 2 strands of thread. But you know, and for some reason there's a black spot on there, which I don't know how that got there, but I'm hoping there's a little motif that will cover that. If not, oh well. So that's that one. It's cute, isn't it? I did work on that one before Christmas, but not very much. Okay. Next one, my second last WIP from 2021. This one is called Little Birds, and it's a blackbird piece. And this was a start along for Betsy Klager's 60th birthday, not sexiest birthday, 60th birthday. And it was hashtag Betsy is old because she is. And I've always loved this, and I continue to love it. And I have given it a bit of loving just this year already. So I've finished connecting the border. The borders have met, yay. There's a train going past, I'm not sure if you can hear that. That's it. So I'm stitching this one on a 40 count Spice linen from number 12 Stitch Co. And I absolutely adore it. It is just beautiful. I have made a mistake with this one. Like most of the things I stitch, there's mistakes in it. So, oh God, that train's long. So I think I stitched this motif 2 stitches too high. So now I have to adjust every one because I couldn't be bothered to unpick it. I will. So again, that's it. Little birds. And I'm using all of the called for over-dyed cottons for that one. And of course they are true blackbird colours, lots of beautiful browns and greens, and this cayenne colour, this orangey red. It's very pretty, and it's got a lot of blues. And I do love it. I've already said that, haven't I? That must get boring. Right. Next. This one is a Stacey Nash Primitives design, and it's called Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. I bought this pattern off Etsy. And again, I've always loved it. That border is no joke. Again, I have been stitching on this one. I think I had it out for a day last week or the week after, a week before, sorry. And each time I pull it out, I try and get one of the leaf border pieces in. I'll show you it all up together. So that is Christmas at Hollyberry Farm, and it's being stitched on a piece of 40 count spice from number 12 Stitch Co, and I love it. The house, I did swap out the called for colour. I think I'm stitching it in a Gentle Arts oatmeal. All of the other colours are predominantly Leo and Roxy Floss Co. Now been rebranded. Oh, I'm getting a cramp in my hand again. Leo and Roxy Floss Co. rebranded to Roxy Floss Co. So I'm using the green in this one, is the Leo and Roxy, and it's called Dark Sage. And the red in all of the lady's dress and the words and that sort of stuff is Lucille, which is the best red in the universe. Thank you to everybody that reached out to me and suggested I take magnesium for the cramps in my hands. You're all very kind. And I have got some. I went and I bought some. But as you can see, it doesn't always work. Just my hands, I'm afraid. Right. Okay. That was all of 2020 and 2021. So now we'll move on to the 2022 starts. And this is them. So there's quite a few. I was going really, really well until about November. And then I've said this many times before, rather than emotional eating, I do emotional starting. So I started a lot in November. And October. Yeah, October and November. But that's okay. Whatever you got to do. Now, my first start was on the 1st of January 2022, and that was for my friend Laura from Brenda and the Serial Starter fame. It was her 60th birthday on that day, and I started Elizabeth Isles from the Scarlet Letter. So tons of people have stitched this one, tons of people have finished it. I have not. So I'm chipping away at this one. I bought this one out at the end of last year to work on it. I have shortened the border, so I've dropped off, I will drop off all of the quote or the verse or whatever you call it. And I'll just do the angels and whatnot around the edge. I had quite a bit of trouble shortening the border for some reason. My brain just wouldn't work and do it properly, so there are some mistakes which is making it a little bit difficult for me to fit everything in. I have stitched some things and had to unpick them. You can sort of see the shadow of where I've unpicked a whole urn. And you can see I've been stitching away and then decided it was, I don't know, bedtime, or I'd had enough and didn't even finish the thread. So I'm stitching this one on a piece of 40 count spun sugar from Jay's X Stitch, and I'm using all of the called for DMC cottons, and I do love it. And I will finish it. I'll finish all of them eventually. There's only one in this pile that I think I might restart, but I'll tell you which one that is when I get to it. Okay, the next one is a whopper. Whopper. This is called Maria Vincenza Lirica 1837 from Hands Across the Sea. I will stick a colour photo in here because I only have a black and white, and it's this one which I loved the moment it was released, and I think I bought it from the Hands Across the Sea website about 5 minutes after it was released. And then I started it very soon after I bought it. So this bed sheet has an on it. So that's all the way across the bottom. All the way. And I'm stitching this one. This is also a piece of 40 count spun sugar from Jay's X Stitch. It is the prettiest linen. It is a very, very, very pale pink. Like so pale you don't even know it's pale pink unless you see it in certain lights. And I'm stitching this one in DMC number 347. And I think the coverage is pretty amazing on this one. Again, loose thread. Must have got sick of it. Put it away. But isn't that amazing? So good. I haven't stitched on this one for quite a while. It's quite overwhelming because it's so big. That is that one. And look at this beautiful bag. I think it might be Three Sisters fabric. I can't remember. Is it Three Sisters? I think so. Next up is another Hands Across the Sea chart. Again, I don't have a colour copy of the picture, so I'll stick it in here. I've got the black and white, and it's called The Pear and the Giant Rose, 1888. Again, you've probably seen this one stitched by lots of different people. And that's all I've done. The house. I'm stitching this one on a piece of 46 count linen that I dyed myself using a combination of RIP dyes. I think I need to unpick this little chicken and find a different colour because you just cannot see it on the linen. So that's that one. I'm stitching it, did I say, in the called for DMCs. And that's good. I love it. I love the purple roof. Purple. Yeah, it's really gorgeous. It's only going to be teeny tiny. That's how big it is. Teeny tiny, but really nice. I think I put this one away because I just couldn't seem to get into a nice rhythm with doing the border. There's lots of stopping and starting, and once I get going, I just like to sort of go on this flow, and you know, you get a pattern established and off you go. But I just couldn't seem to get there with that one. Okay, next one is another Shakespeare's Peddler chart, and this is the one that I think I'm going to restart. I did start this one as a start along with Betsy Claygirl, Betsy. And this one is called Two Skinny Dogs, or Martha Mulder, 1859. Yep, 59. Again, another one I've loved forever, but I don't think I chose the right linen. It calls for Dirty You from Dames of the Needle, which I think must be a lighter linen. It's always hard to know based on the picture on the chart. It looks quite light, so maybe I'll restart it in a lighter linen. I don't know, but this linen is a 37 count legacy linen, and I just don't like it. So I've done across the bottom border, as you can see, and that's the grass on the house. And yeah, it's just the linen. So I might leave this one out and restart it eventually. It's nice linen, but I don't know. Just not doing it for me. So, but I do love the chart. So pretty. And that's hasn't got very many threads in that one, but they are very pretty. Greens, creams, and pinks. Here's the pink. So pretty. Okay. Next one. Again, I don't have a picture of this one, and I don't think there is a picture of this one. This is called the Denim Band Sampler. Oh, who's it by? I can't even... I Stitch Designs is who it's by. And this is where I got up to, not even halfway. And this was supposed to be a stitch along. We were emailed a section of the chart each week for 32 or 34 weeks. I kept up till probably up here, and then I've just been chipping away ever since. But I do love it. They're very sweet little stitches. And this band down here is fun to do. So that will go all the way down to there. And then once it's done, I will put it on a spool and stick it on the shelf. So I'm using DMC 924. That's the blue I chose. I think the called for in the chart is actually an Averois silk, but I was quite happy just to use DMC because I love DMC. So that's that one. The next one is my one and only full coverage. I know a peacock, unicorn and a badger, is that what it's called? I think so, is full coverage, but I don't necessarily have to stitch it like a full coverage because of the way that the chart works, whereas this one is, you know, full coverage. And it's called Child with Cat. And I started this one, when did I start this one? April last year I started this one. This is a chart from Cross Stitch Collectibles online. They've got some really beautiful charts, beautiful images. And I'm stitching this one on a 20 count Easy Grid Ada, and that's where it's up to. So I had a bit of a, not a disaster, but a bit of a bummer incident. I somehow deleted Pattern Keeper off my tablet, so I lost all of the progress that I've made on this. So I've reloaded it and I've started just trying to, you know, get back to where I was, but it's been a bit of a saga. But anyway, that's why I went up here and did all this, because I sort of, anyway, it was just a bit of a pain, bit of a bummer. But this is the cat. This is the girl's hand. It's very orange, but once you're feeling around it, it sort of dulls out a little bit. So yeah, that's that one. I chip away at that every now and again. I pull it out and have a go. Haven't quite so much since the incident with the tablet happened, but anyway. I'm getting a huge pile over here. It's gonna be a tower, a teetering tower. Okay, next was a start along for my friend Kathy in Tassie, her birthday last year. She started a hashtag, I think it was a Snooty Parrots sampler stitch along for her birthday, and I didn't want to stitch the Barbara Anna chart that she and some other people were stitching, so I chose Caroline Rose Pink, which is a design from Samplers Forever on Etsy, and it also has some parrots on it. So this is the chart, and here are the big birds. So I started this one, and I really love this one. So this is where it's up to. I've started across the bottom, filling in the bottom border. The Caroline, the little girl Caroline, she was 12 when she stitched this. She was not a good counter. Each of the little divots down here, the waves in the border, are all a different count, and so that's been a little bit of a challenge to figure that all out. I have sort of corrected a couple of them. So that's that one. It's got a little bit of over one in the name and in the little phrase at the bottom. I started one of the parrots here. This is stitched on a 40 count spun sugar from Joe's X Stitch using DMC. And they are very pretty colours. Again, that's just blues and creams and browns and greens. Very pretty. Oh, the next one is shameful. The next thing I started. I love this bag. All the cool ladies on there. And then on the inside it's bright pink. This was a stitch along. I got caught up in quite a few stitch alongs last year. I'm sort of being a little bit more mature this year and not getting caught up in the hype. This one is a stitch along with Melly Ellie Stitches and Betsy, and it's called Sweet Friendship, I think. A Sweet Friendship. So it's a cricket collection. This is a fairly new chart. I thought this must have been an older chart that we sort of dug out and found, but it's 2022 release, so it's only fairly new, but I think that's very cute. So one will be me, one will be Melly, and one will be Betsy. So, but as you will see, I haven't made much of a start. There's just some shoes. And I did have more stitched, but for some reason I had totally miscounted. Counting's hard. Counting to 5 is hard. So that's that one. I'm gonna get this one out again. It's sweet, it's fun. And this is a piece of 40 count cocoa dust from number 12 Stitch Co. And this is a really pretty pinky, taupey, browny, creamy, whitey. A pretty piece of linen in a very pretty bag. A fun bag. Fun bag! That is a fun bag. I love it. I love it so much. Okay. Next one is a Mirabilia. My one and only Mirabilia that I've got on the go. And I watched Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche. I think she calls it Niche. It's really interesting how differently we pronounce words around the world. Jen pronounces the word niche. We say it niche as niche. So I get caught saying niche because that's how she says it. But over here we call a niche a niche. Tangent. Anyway, Jen from Jen Stitching Niche is just about to start this one on a really pretty piece of pink fabric I think she had. Anyway, mine's not pink. I'm using a natural linen. But this is called the Feather Fairy. I think. Yep, the Feather Fairy. So I started this one last year. As I said, I'm using a natural linen. This is a 32 count raw linen, I think it's called, from Zweigart. And you probably have no idea what this is. That's her arm and her hand, and this is the start of her bodice, and this is the start of her little feathery tutu dress. So it's very pretty, and you can see I've started to put in some Krynic, which is okay. Again, I'm stitching this one with 2 threads over 2 linen threads, 2 strands over 2 linen threads, which is not my favourite stitching, but I think it's going to be pretty, and that she's very big. I started this one with Jodie from Trixie Tricycle. She started a Mirabilia at the same time. Have you seen Jodie's linen from Cedar River Linen and Design? I received a box full of deliciousness last week. I'll show you in an upcoming Flosstube video because it's divine. So that's Feather Fairy from Mirabilia. I haven't worked on it for a while, quite a while, but she will get some love. I'll see it again. And it's got, in my little bag here, it's got all the different coloured Cryonics in it. It's got these pretty aqua, sparkly, aqua-y, greeny colours. I'm not much into the sparkles normally, but just for a change, it's been really nice. And these cute little beads, petite beads. Oh. So that's my, sorry, that noise was me getting a cramp. Yeah, so that's that one. Okay. Next one is a, what's her name? Hello from Liz Mathews. An absolutely glorious chart that I started for my birthday last year. And I don't know if I've got a picture of the front cover. No, I don't. I'll stick one in here. This one is called My Home in the Garden. And I've been stitching this one along with Betsy, who has finished this. And it looks spectacular. And Melly Ellie stitches. So this is mine. Now that makes me think. I showed this in a couple of Flosstube videos ago, and I said to everybody, if anybody wants my colour conversion, yell out. And there were a couple of ladies that did, and I was a slacker and I didn't contact them and send them the details. So if you're still interested, please reach out again and I'll be sure to send the details to you, because I did a complete colour conversion for this one. Because this chart called for Gloriana silk, and I don't know, as much as I love Gloriana silk, I didn't feel like spending a huge amount of money on it, so I just went through my stash and did a conversion to overdyed cotton threads, and I'm pretty happy with it, pretty happy. So Betsy, I've got to say also, is Betsy used the called for DMCs, and it's just beautiful. It is just a beautiful, beautiful stitch. So you don't even need to convert it to overdyes. I just did because, I don't know, I just did. So that's that one. It's pretty, it's so pretty. I don't think that will be a lot of work to finish. So I might put that in one of my goals to finish soon pile, along with Ragamuffin. So that one is also stitched on a 40 count spun sugar from Jay's X Stitched. I think it might be one of my most favourite linens at the moment, because it's just light, it's plain, it's pretty, everything looks good on it. Oh, I'll show you the colours. You see all these are the colours that I converted it to, and this is, look at this cute koala. This was a gift from Betsy, and this actually came from number 12 Stitch Co. And it's got a little koala charm and a cute little pink love heart button. So cute. The note came from Nicola at number 12, and it said love from Betsy and Hamilton, the cat. Look, so beautiful. Such happy colours. Happy, happy colours. Okay, next one is in this gorgeous project bag. My friend Kathy from Tassie gave me this bag as a gift, and it was made by Andrea from Phil and 69. Isn't it just beautiful? So, so gorgeous. She makes these cute little zipper pulls, and I've just got my little key tags on here to tell me what's inside. And on the inside is just this beautiful goldy colour fabric. So pretty. Love this bag. This is a chart that I bought when I was down with the lovely ladies at the Dark Mojo retreat in Tassie last June. This is Jane Fiddis from Hands Across the Sea. And it is just spectacular. Again, it's a Scottish sampler. I have this thing for Scottish samplers. I just must love the reds in them, and the pinks and the greens. And this is where she's up to. I have worked on this one in the last month or so. Again, I've come right up to the top and have started putting in the scaffolding or the lines, the wavy lines and the curly lines. This is a 40 count light nougat. There's another one of those words that we say differently to almost the rest of the world. Light nougat, I think North Americans say it. We call it nougat because we're posh. Not. So that's Jane. And the lovely Ellen Chester reached out to me when she saw I'd started this one, and she encouraged me very much to stitch the turkey stitch. I think that's what it's called. The grass is stitched in a turkey stitch, which is like a tufted stitch. So if Ellen thinks I can do it, then I'll give it a go. The lovely Ellen Chester. I love this cat. So that's Jane, and she's beautiful. Did I say this is an XJU fabric? Light nougat. It smells so good. Okay, that's that one. That one is another one I'd like to really work on this year. Next, how many have we got left? A few. What are we at? Almost an hour. So the next one is another stitch along that I started at the end of last year with Nicola from number 12 Stitch Co. This is, I'll take this one out of the packet because the packet's very shiny. I'll just put it down here so it doesn't hurt your ears. This is a Mojo chart, Mojo Stitches chart. So the lovely Joanna from Mojo Stitches, she joined us at the Daisy Chain Stitches retreat in Auburn in the Hunter Valley last year in September, and she had a beautiful little stall set up, so we all bought lots of little things from her, and this is the chart that I bought from her, and it's called Among the Roses. And so Nicola from number 12 put a shout out to say who'd like to stitch along with this one, and I said me please, because I just love it. It's got a great big long list of called for over-dyed cottons, but I decided to just stitch it in the gorgeous DMCs, and I'm very pleased that I did. So this is where it's up to. Look at that. How amazing. That is stitched. I'm stitching this one on a piece of 36 count French pear from number 12 Stitch Co. And Nicola actually posted just today her finish on this one. She's an amazing stitcher. I completely copied her with the 36 count French pear, and if mine looks like hers does, I'll be thrilled because it's just stunning. Isn't that so beautiful? So there are quite a few colour changes, but it's fun to stitch because there are nice blocks of colour in this one. That sort of puts me off sometimes with some of these sort of more Berlin woolwork type style stitches, but this one, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So that's that one. There's one of the first leaves down there. So that's the birdie. Jo has some beautiful, beautiful charts. I also bought, I think it's called Twitching Noses, and it's a chart with bunnies, rabbits on it, and that's another one that I would like to start eventually. I did buy that from Joe at the retreat as well. Speaking of Joe from Mojo, at the retreat, we asked Joe to design a small piece for everybody as a memento to take home and stitch. So Joe kindly did that for us, and it's sort of this. I'm going to take it out of this plastic too because it's very shiny. Sorry if I'm hurting your ears. So there's this little piece here, and it just says "My Friends per Colburn 2022." Because, you know, a stitching retreat, it's all about friendship. It's all about having some fun together. So that was sort of what Joe designed, but it was based on this little cute sampler here. And that is my next WIP. I have yet to stitch this one, but I have started this one because I just adore the sentiment in it. It says, I'll read it out to you. It says, "The kindness that my friends have shown, oh, teach me to repay by double kindness of my own in every future day." Oh, it's so beautiful. And that was stitched by Jane Whiston in 1818. So that is the little piece that I am going to show you now. That's my next WIP. So I love stitching on this one. I just love it. You wouldn't think so because I've only done a tiny bit, but I just love the sentiment of this. It's in 2 colours. It's very small, but I love it. So I have chosen to stitch this one. The linen I'm using is a 40 count Barb's blend from R&R that I bought from Stitching Time in Hobart. And the threads I am using Leo and Roxy in chalkboard and Gentle Arts old blue paint. So just those 2 colours, and I just adore it. So that's another one. I started this and I think I put in about 2 letters and then I put it down and then I pulled it out again a couple of weeks ago to keep working on it. So I'll chip away and get that one done. Okay. There's a lot of WIPs, but that's okay. Next one is in this gorgeous bag that I bought from my friend Marie, who is the Grateful Stitcher. Marie, she's got these cute little wooden things, dingle dangles. So these are sulphur crested cockatoos, and again, beautiful pink liner in the bag. Isn't that gorgeous? Marie has an Etsy store. I think it's called the Grateful Stitcher. I think it might be on holidays at the moment, but I'm not sure. Okay, this bag contains The Winter Is Past by Blackbird Designs, and Nicola from Number 12 Stitch Co had a stall also at the Daisy Chain Stitches Retreat in Auburn last year, and she had kitted up some of these pieces, so I bought the kit for this one, and of course I had to start it. I just love the blues, the browns, the greens. Love it. So, I don't know what colour the linen is, but that's my start. I've just done the bottom border, started the bottom border. So, love, love, love the blues. So that's my little start. It's a 40 count linen, but again, I don't know what the colour is. I am stitching that one using most of the called for threads, except there are a couple of substitutions because of availability at the time. But these are them, blues, greens, so many pretty colours. Pretty, pretty. Okay. Now the next one is so close to a finish, it's not funny. It is, oh, this is another little Christmas bag I made a couple of years ago. This has got a bilby on it. Another little Aussie mammal called a bilby. This one is called And Rudolph by La-Di-Da. I started this one just before Christmas on a piece of mystery linen. It looks finished. It's not quite. It's got to have some little doodad stitches all up the borders, and then those little cross parts in the reindeer's bodies, and then it's done. So really not very much left to do. A really sweet little stitch. I think it's a 36 count linen. I don't think it's 40, it's 36. It was not that nice to stitch on, whatever it is. It's a bit sort of scratchy or something. I don't know. It's white gut linen. It's got the border, the orange stripe. I don't know what it is. Doesn't matter. It looks nice. So that was that one. Now you think I'd keep that one out to stitch on, wouldn't you? But not in the mood for that one. Okay, next one. These are all the things that I started in a frenzy toward the end of last year. And life was just a bit nuts. This one that I'm going to show you now is a Plum Street Samplers chart. It's called Friends of the Heart. And I bought this pattern. I actually kitted it up. I bought the pattern and kitted it up when I first came back to stitching in 2019, after a long break from stitching. And I have always loved this one. And then someone on Flosstube showed it, that they were working on it. And I thought, right, that's a sign, I'm going to pull it out and start it. So I did. I always had this vision that it was a really big piece, but it's not really. What is it? Oh, I'd call it medium. It's 232 wide by 154 high. So that's that one. Just beautiful. Beautiful colours. I'm stitching this one on a piece of 40 count legacy linen from Picture This Plus. And you can tell I enjoyed stitching on it because I did a lot. So that's it. Friends of the Heart by Plum Street. Love, love, love it. I think I did change out one or two of the colours in this one. The what is it? The deer in the middle there. The called for colour must have changed in dye lots or something because it was really pale. So I just swapped it out for something. And then the roof was, I think the called for was an onyx, but I decided to use some Vampish from Leo and Roxy because I love Leo and Roxy and I had it in my stash, so that's Vampish. It's a beautiful dark grey, but it's got a purpley sort of undertone to it. So that's the one I used. And the grey that I'm using for the deer is Weeks Graphite. I don't think it calls for graphite. What does it call for? Pelican grey, perhaps. I just use graphite. So that's Friends of the Heart. And beautiful. So that's that one. That's another one that I'd like to get done this year. So, how many have we got left? 1, 2, 5. 5 to go. So this next chart was a gift from my friend Sue, who sent me quite the generous pile of charts last year. And one of them is this gorgeous one from Scattered Seed Samplers. And it's called Gathering Together Pin Keep. And again, it's got a bird. I just love it. I believe this was a kit from the Scattered Seed Club that you can join up to on Etsy. So my friend Sue, I think, was a member of that club, and she kindly sent me the chart. The cord for linen for this one is a 36 count country mocha, vintage country mocha from Zweigart, and that's what I've used. Oh, you can see through that. Will this work? That might work. So that's all I've done. I think I started this one afternoon after work, and that's the that's the bird's feet. They're cute. That's all I did. So that's that fella. And that's using all of the called for DMC threads, which are really beautiful, just neutral greys and browns and greens. Very pretty. Okay. Now, I'm sure you've all heard that the very talented Ellen Reid from Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour has started designing charts. All I can say is that they are just glorious, and I want to stitch all of them. And I have been lucky enough to get my hands on her first release, which is called There Is Always Room. And because I'm her spouse, we are married, she sent me a signed copy of her chart, and she wrote, "To Nicky, you are my beautiful koala." Anyway, she's a dag. Okay, I'm back again. That was the kid this time. Okay, so this is Ellen's beautiful chart. There Is Always Room. And I got this as a thread pack with the chart. So they're all the beautiful Leo and Roxy threads. Look at this. Look at that. Look at the colours. Look at this. This one. Oh my Lord. Isn't that beautiful? What's that called? That's called You're My Jam. They're all just so pretty. So I'm stitching mine. I had to start the moment it arrived here. It took about 3 weeks to get from Canada to me. And I'm stitching this on a piece of, I don't know. I think it might be a number 12 linen, but I don't know what it's called. I didn't write it down. And I've taken, Nicola always puts on a little dangly to tell you what it is, but it's not on here. So I don't know what it is. I'll have to work it out. But that's my little start. It's a 40 count linen. And it's beautiful. I love doing it. This was so fun doing this little red piece here. And the fruit bowl. I've only started the border. It's got some satin stitches in it as well. I think there's a little bit of over one. But that's it. That's all I've done. Gwyneth has finished. Gwyneth, who is Curling Stones and Cross Stitches on Instagram, has finished hers. And Betsy has only got a few stitches to go as well. So beautiful, Ellen. I love your work. Okay, now the dog's scratching at the door. Next one. I call this my vanity stitch because it does feel quite vain to be stitching a whole sampler in my initial, with my initial N. So, but it's a GGR chart and it's called N. It's got N's all over it. So I started this one. This one has another November start, I think. No, this is the 12th. This was December start. And I'll show you. It's getting stitched on a piece of linen that I dyed with various RIT dyes. And that's where I'm up to. So I'm stitching it in a purple thread as a DMC thread. It is a ton of fun doing this. I love all of the little geometric shapes and the little patterns. It's a joy to stitch. So I'm using DMC 3740 and I bought quite a few skeins of that thread because it's quite large. This one has a stitch count, can I see in there? 341 by 311. That's quite big. There's lots of space on this one, so, and I had to do the old stick it all together trick because I couldn't keep up with so I stuck it all together to recreate the chart. So I kept making mistakes. So oops, don't copy the chart, will you? Okay, 2 to go. Second last one was a little kit that I had bought in Tassie from Thread Patchwork and Cross Stitching Shop. It's a Shepherd's Bush snowman. You can't see him very well because I was going to say his shirt. Snowmen don't have a shirt. His body blends in very well with the linen. But you can see it. In real life you can see it. That's the little snowman. This one's called the Grey Snowman from Shepherd's Bush. And I bought the full kit, including this 32 count weeks linen, which is the real floppy weeks linen, but I don't mind stitching on it at all. It's nice and soft. This is the pattern. I'll take it out. The cutest little... I've stitched the purple one as well, and it's fully finished, but this is the Grey Snowman from Shepherd's Bush. I'd love to go to Shepherd's Bush. It came with all the silk. It's not stitching cotton, this one is. Oh, there's some cottons, but it's mainly the silk, all different silk types. And it comes with the little buttons in a little cute little bag. It came with a needle. It came with everything. Can you see that? Just some cute little buttons. He's almost finished. He's like the and Rudolph one. He's so close to being finished, it's not funny. Can you see him? You can see his body. But I think he's cute. That sheep's cute. Sheep is cute. Okay, now the lucky last WIP. I started this one. Oh, I didn't write it down. It was, I can tell you when I started it. Oh, I started it in the car traveling to my sister's house for Christmas on Christmas Eve. So this one is, this is a freebie that I picked up off the freebie table at the Daisy Chain Retreat, and it was left there by my friend Nicky. And it's the Scarlet Letter Scottish Sampler. And I probably raced up to the table when I saw this one and snatched it out of some poor lady's hand because I just loved it. No, I didn't. But I love it. It's a Scottish sampler, which I tend to love. All the colours. It's only little. I'll tell you how big this one is. Surprisingly little. 140 by 142. And I'm stitching this one in the called for DMC, and I'm stitching it on an absolutely beautiful piece of linen from Nicola at number 12 Stitch Co, and it's called Weathered. So it's this beautiful grey brown, greyish maybe, and this is where I'm up to. So it's almost the top. So that's it. But I love it. So I did get carried away on this one. I worked on this one on Christmas Eve in the car on the way down to my sister. And then for a few days after Christmas I worked on it, and that's how much I got done. That's it. So it's very pretty. As I said, it's just the called for DMC. I did swap out the blue, the called for blue, because I didn't have that particular blue in my stash. So I just found something else that I thought would work. And I think I actually like it more than what's on the chart because it's a little bit soft. It's not as bright a blue. This one's quite turquoisey, whereas this one's sort of more a softer blue, I think. Anyway, I sort of thought it had a similar tone to the pink. So that's that. That's all of my WIPs. I have got a couple of other things that I'm stitching away on, just some small things that are for exchanges and gifts and things. I haven't shown you those because, you know, need to keep some things a secret. Surprise. Yeah, that's it. So I hope you really enjoyed that. I've enjoyed going through everything. The pile, you can see that's the top of the pile. So it's about that high. Anyway. All right, lovies. I'm going to head off, get some stuff done this Sunday afternoon. Might even do some stitching on Ragamuffin. Get ready for the working week. Back to work tomorrow. All right. I hope everyone's well. Happy stitching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.